Full-time, full-time. You're listening to Full-Time Daughter. It's a full-time job at this point.
Welcome back to another episode of Full-Time Daughter with Isa.
And Kaylin. Another week.
Another episode.
I was waiting for you and I was like,
no, we switched roles today.
Yeah, we did. It was weird.
How are you guys doing? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good actually.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little weird still. The energy in the air is a little bit. It's also my birth week. It's
Honestly.
weird though because like if it doesn't feel like my birthday, you know when there's kind of like mixed emotions around birthdays, and I know some people hate birthdays and like just getting that like attention or one specific day that's like, I don't know, it's so odd though. Like this year really feels like the most birthday ever.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know why. I think it's just the era of life that I'm in where it's very in and out, and I feel like I'm turning 23, but that's crazy to me, and it doesn't feel like I'm turning 23. Very odd energy.
To be honest with you, if I was celebrating my birthday this week, I feel like I would be in the same space of like, it does not feel.
It doesn't feel real.
You know when it's like, yeah, it doesn't feel real.
Not that
That's
it's like
that's what it is. Like you don't feel it. Like no way, I'm
it's-
turning 23.
It's also like we're not in school, so like the time reference passing by, like I truly don't even know what month it is, and I'm like, oh, like that's finally happening. Like my birthday's actually around the corner, and it feels so weird. But besides that,
Well, by the time that they see this, probably you'll be turning 23, which is so exciting
I will
to me.
literally be 23 the day after you're listening to this. It still is like this little hint of like, okay, I'm a year older. I'm kind of more adultish, and I'm stepping into this like more mature side of myself.
Yeah, and
So
I
I'm
always
excited
think about
it.
like what the new year, like your 23rd year of life might bring. And
True.
that gets me so excited. I'm like, oh my God.
I do kind of love like the possibilities and how open
Yeah.
the new season
Well,
everything is. How are you
yay.
doing?
I'm doing good. As you know, you guys listened to last week's episode. We were kind of all over the place. And I feel like that's just the vibes right now. The vibes
Like
are...
we're being real.
The vibes are, we're all over the place. It's messy. It's no direct. We have no direction
Truly,
right now
at all.
It was actually funny because I'll just jump into it. Me and Kaylin were talking like this past week, literally about how we're feeling and
Yeah.
what are we gonna do, like next steps. Because, like we said, we're taking this like. I feel like we're taking this much more seriously, but we
Yeah.
see this as like something we want to continue growing and something we want to do in the future and all that. And I don't know, it just got me thinking about where I want to be in my life. Especially
So many questions
yeah
and question marks.
yeah
But we had like not really like a sit down conversation. We've been wanting to have an actual like
parent
teacher conference meeting with each other, like that
sit
vibe.
down somewhere public across each other, laptops open.
Public is the key word because
Literally.
we can't get shit done
No.
when we're like in the same. When we're in each other's presence, number
literally
one.
we can't do anything if we're like in a house or something. We need to be like in
Outside.
literally outside in a
To
public
hold
area.
ourselves accountable, like truly. But we've really been wanting to have that conversation
Yeah.
of like, what's next for us?
What's next? What's like, what are we gonna do? And I think we mentioned in the last episode that like by 2025 I really want to like know where I'm at, or just like kind of be where I want to be.
Yeah.
Career wise, professionally, or just like I want to be doing something
Yeah.
that's
Fulfilling.
leading me to yeah, exactly. But yeah, anyway, not that I'm like ready to talk about this, but like something scary happened to me, and then something triggered this conversation because I was reflecting after this like traumatic thing happened, and
Which was crazy.
yeah, but I'm like not ready to talk about that yet.
Yeah.
But
we pushed
when
aside. That did not happen.
yeah
Literally.
when I am ready to talk about it, I'll like talk to you guys about it, obviously. But something happened and it triggered like this like really big reflection for me about like where I want to be and like what I want to do. And like such a big thing for me is I do want to like go traveling, and I do want to move. So then me and Kaylin started talking about this,
Yep.
and we're like, what is it with the number one thing being like, I want to move. I
know.
Like, can we
There's,
discuss
like,
why that's like such a big thing for us?
such a fascination behind wanting to leave your hometown and feeling like you can't grow in the place that you've been your entire life.
Yeah.
So you feel like it's necessary to just like pack up your entire life, become a whole different person, like put on a different persona, like where nobody knows you,
Yeah.
and just run away.
Yeah, I want to unpack all of this.
Like, we're like,
literally
what is it?
you've hit the nail or whatever every single time. That is how I feel.
I
want
know.
to pack up everything. I want to move. I want to like start fresh somewhere. And
Like, nobody knows anything
about you.
So you could be whoever you want. And who's to tell you that that's like the wrong thing for you?
yeah. But before we get into all of that, I just wanted to start with like being here and the whole thing about like we're coming of age. We're at such like pivotal part in our like adulthood, like this like fresh,
I know.
like such like we're in our early 20s, you know what I mean?
Early 20s.
Like, oh my gosh, we're
And
babies practically.
truly, like, I always think about how, like, in the grand scheme of things, being 21, almost 23 is like so young. Like, in
So
other
young.
people, when I hear these stories of like fun or like their concerns at this age, I'm always like, very valid.
Very
Like,
valid.
what are we to know at this age? Like, we are just thrown out into the world. We're not supposed to have answers as to like, oh, you know what, I want to be this, or I want to do this before this age, or
Right.
have like a very predetermined timeline of how things are supposed to go. Like, we're
Right.
not supposed to know that.
Right.
But I think because of so much of the pressure from other people and like that constant questioning of like, hey, what are you gonna do with your life? Do you have any idea? Like, it's constant questions of like, how are you gonna make money? And how do you intend to go from where you're at to where you want to be? And it's a lot of pressure on like, how am I even supposed to get there? I think a lot of like my concern comes from so many dreams that I have, like so many that I'm like, I see it for myself and for us. How do I get there?
Yeah.
Like, how do I get from point A to point B?
I feel you 100%. And then such a big worry of mine is I heard this quote somewhere and I'm gonna butcher it, but it's that thing that it's like, if you have so many things, like focused on so many things, are you even gonna achieve like one of them
Right,
fully?
though.
And that's what I fear so much, is like, if I have so many of these dreams, am I even gonna be able to do one of them? I don't know.
It's like-
it literally has me spiraling.
It's a spiral, and it puts you in like such a paralyzing situation because it comes to a point where you have so many things on your mind, or so many like distant dreams that you want to accomplish, and so many fears about them that it kind of causes you to just not do any of them to begin with.
Yeah, you're stuck in this like, can we not
Like Percy.
Isa's thermos, please?
Percy King.
Percy.
Anyway,
We love Percy here.
if you see the tail flapping,
he is a full-time daughter.
there's so many dreams and goals and things in the future that it overwhelms me sometimes, and I won't
And you're
even start
stuck.
something.
We were talking about all of this, and it got me thinking about like that coming of age moment. Everyone wants that story, and you grow up, and I feel like I've spent so many years watching movies and shows where you have this character, or even people around me, family members, who tell me stories from when they moved or when they studied abroad and when they got to live away from home, and the way that they speak about it just so fondly, and they have so many good memories. They really like they gained independence. They really grew up into who they were, and they grew as a person.
Right.
And that has always like fascinated me, and I've always wanted that. And then again, you see shows and movies, and you're like, look at this, like the plot is
main
incredible.
Plot.
It's crazy
It's
how
like a
much
character arc.
literally, it's you grow, you meet people, you have fun, and it's just a way to like get out of your bubble and learn more about different people and cultures and see what's outside of this bubble that we live
Yeah.
in. And not to say anything, but we do live in Miami, and it is a bubble here. Like there's very much like just one
Like, you'd
big
be
culture.
surprised about Miami.
Literally, it's like
As much as it is like a big city for tourists and vacationing and everything, when you live here though, it's a different experience of like, it really is not that big as we're as big as it seems.
Correct.
Like, everybody knows somebody else,
and I feel
who
like
knows
there's
somebody
a
else.
very like the culture is very much the same, and I have nothing against the culture. I love the culture here. It's just when you go out of it and you learn so many, like, I don't know, I feel like there's
just
so
get used
much
to
more
it.
to know. And also when I've mentioned this before, I did get the opportunity to study abroad, and I remember I met so many different people, and I learned about like their cultures, their religions, their way of life and way of thinking, and I was like, oh my god, I was like so ignorant before this, because that didn't even like, I had no like sort of curiosity about it or anything, or if I did have curiosity, I never looked into it until now. So it's like just interesting to step out of that bubble and out of like the bounds and just like learn more about other people and ways of like that things that happen in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Like that's always fascinated me, and that's why I'm like, oh, I just want to learn more and I want to do more.
There is a certain fascination with that.
Mm-hmm.
And just like no matter where you live or any city, it could be like a very small town, which that in itself has its own it has its own challenges, because you're stuck in one little place, and you're so just accustomed to the same drive that you're taking every day. You fall into the same patterns, the same people that you're coming across, until you're forced to kind of experience something different, whether you want to or not, because at some point you're not going to be living the same exact life and going through the same routine every day. So you're faced with reality, and then you really have to put into perspective, like, is this what I want? Do I want to continue down this same path? But then you feel like, if I keep going down this path, will I ever grow? Because I'm not experiencing what you think is like this whole different experience in another city, new people, new experiences. So it's like, oh my God, it's so interesting to me. It's so interesting to me, because I'm like, the growth that can come out of that.
Yeah.
But also the fears that you'd be experiencing at the same time.
I get you. I 100% get you, because I think, okay, so from my POV, the reason I want to move, there's so many factors to it, right? Privacy, independence, adventures, fun, and honestly, just like the experience of being on your own for a while and just learning how to live by yourself without being dependent on your family. And I think we've mentioned this so many times. I mean, that's literally the whole point of our podcast, like, is that
I was about to say that is full-time
our full-time daughters,
and where the name even comes from.
It's from that. It's like we've lived with our families our whole life, and it's so like we're so rooted in our families and like what they ask of us and like what we need from them. Like, I don't know, like we're so intertwined with them that my experience just leaving for a little bit was so like amazing, just because I was like, wait, I do everything for myself now, and not everything for myself, but just like I'm thinking for myself. I need to solve this for myself. Those are reasons why I would like to go. But then there's the other side of it where it's like I do have worries about like realistic things like financials. And I was watching this video of this girl that was like, I love living in Boston, because you know I've always been,
there's always
I love
that
Boston, you know, there's always like a thing. And it's like there was the top comment was 15% fun, 85% broke. And I was just like, like it's so worrisome, because then you're like, where am I gonna get the money? Like, be realistic. Our parents are like, well, where's that money coming from?
Like, how are you gonna
how are you gonna eat? How are you gonna take care of yourself? And then in my head,
a whole like,
but in my head I'm just like, I'm good, like I will figure something
no, I'm the same way though, where it's almost like, yes, we have this delusion of like somehow things are gonna work out or pan out for us, and I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing to have during this part of life, because I am someone who just like genuinely believes that things are gonna fall into place how they're meant to, and I'm just gonna end up where I end up, and that's like what is right for us.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that,
but I don't know how exactly. I'm like, is that
I don't know if
kind
that's
of
just us
bad
being
though,
like
because
dumb?
like we're not taking the like not the proper steps, but like we're not, there's like nothing in motion happening that is like we can visually see in front of us, and we're taking like the next step into getting there, but there's just like that belief in the back of my head that I'm like, and it will happen.
Yeah, but for me it's like I think about it and I'm like, wait, okay, so if I want to do this, I can plan months ahead. I can work.
Right.
I can have a savings, right? And then when I'm there, I can just continue working and do whatever. And I'm like, it'll work. Like it will work. Like, it's not crazy. I feel like people have done crazier things.
No, for sure.
Than us wanting to move somewhere temporarily and just like figuring it out as we go. Like,
but that's like one of those things that in my head, it's like, all right, so many other people do it, and I see it happening, and I see it play out so well for them. And obviously there's going to be challenges where everybody goes through them, and they come across that initial like first when they move, they get like the scaries, and they freak out a little about the jobs, the money, the everything that's like realistic. You really get a reality check during this moment. And we're not saying that there's not challenges.
No, 100%.
Because there will be.
100%.
But it's kind of like that thing of like when you're thrown out there, you have to just kind of deal with it.
But you see, you say that, and then I'm just like, wait, but like, I don't care. That's the thing. It's like, I am ready to be challenged. Life is meant to be challenging, and you're supposed to come up with things. Oh, there's
Exactly.
an issue and you have to figure it out. Let me figure it out. I want to take on that challenge.
Exactly.
I'm not the type of person where I'm like, oh, it's so challenging, I can't do it. Like, I'm gonna figure it out. That's the kind of person I am. It's like, oh, I'm gonna offer you a solution. I'm
like
gonna figure it out.
You have to have that like kind of push into the deep end.
The challenges won't stop me from doing it. And then there's other things where it's like, yeah, you hear about like, there's always two sides to moving, right? You see like the really romanticized version, which we'll get into, that it's like so pretty, and it's like you're with your friends and you're making new friends and you're exploring new places and it's amazing. And then there's the other side where it's like you're missing your family, you're missing your friends, you feel very isolated. Maybe if you're somewhere that they speak another language, maybe you can't make friends as easily, you're stuck somewhere, maybe you can't find a job or whatnot. Okay, I see both of those sides, but I lean more towards the optimistic, happy side, just because I feel like this can be solved. Like, you can learn another language. One outweighs the other, dude.
That, like, glass half full. And I have always thought with us, like, yes, we are very high hopes, very much like we're dreamers, I would say, rather than realists. Do we have hints of like, bitch, let's be so for real? Yes, where we have to put ourselves in check a little bit. But I truly think like putting us in another city would only do us good, rather than like us freaking out and like succumbing to like our fears and being like, we can't handle it. I talk to my mom about this all the time, and she agrees with me sometimes that I say, I honestly think that I need to be kicked out of the house because, no, dead ass, like seriously, like,
I say
we're too
that
comfortable.
Because I'm too comfortable.
We're too comfortable.
I'm too comfortable, and I'm too reliant on like, and I'm grateful, y'all. Like, I know some of you guys that are watching are like, why would you ever want to be kicked out of your house? Like, you're not paying rent. You get to do your laundry for free. Yes, I see that. I get you. But you're probably coming from a place of where you've lived alone or you lived on a college dorm. I've lived in my mom's house my entire life. I've had dinners with my family every single day. I literally am so comfortable and used to it. But I feel like such an integral part of growing up is knowing and figuring out how to do things by yourself. And I don't know how that sounds. I don't want it to sound off like bratty or spoiled or anything, because I don't think I am. But honestly, I think about it all the time with my mom, that I'm like, I genuinely think I need to leave, because if not, I'll just always stay stuck in this like very dependent, like frozen in time state, and I hate that. And that's why I'm like, I need to be forced out so that I can learn how to grow. And same thing with like the responsibilities you get when you move, and the responsibilities you get, and the sort of like financial like literacy that comes when like, oh, I need to learn how to budget. Oh, I can't do that. I can't buy that. I need to put my financials into this. It's like, it's part of like adulting and growing up. And I hate to say it, because sometimes I'm like, oh, but you want to be a kid longer. Oh, you want to be young longer. Why would you ever want to struggle? Oh, why would you want this worry, you know? But I fear that if you don't start doing it and you don't learn it, you're just never gonna grow up. Or when it gets to that point where you have to and you're forced to, you're not gonna know what to do, and it's gonna be like embarrassing and like ridiculous. Like, you're a whole ass adult, why don't you know how to do this?
No,
that,
I know
and the
exactly where you're coming from, but that's just like a whole different experience in itself, because
completely.
School versus the real world of, you have to know, you're forced to kind of go out there and be an adult and figure things out for yourself, because when you're in college, you have that guidance from like mentors, teachers, your parents. Sometimes, not all the time, do you have like an amazing support system, and that is so hard. But it's such a different experience when you're like genuinely faced with the reality of like, oh, now you're in the real world, and whatever, you can become anything you want. You can be whoever you want.
And I think that the thing that makes us so different from other people, or like perspectives, is a lot of people around us moved away when they were 18, and they had that moment away from home. They know what it's like to leave your family. They know what it's like to live in a dorm, in an apartment. They know what it's like to like meet a bunch of new people in college. Like, a lot of people have that experience and have that perspective, and we never did. We went to school close to home. We always lived in our house. Like, it's always been the same, and we've never had that that separation from what we know. So it's like we haven't really been challenged in life. And I know that sounds, to some, it might be like, don't be ridiculous. Why would you ever want to be challenged? You're living lavishly.
Like, we are incredibly privileged.
100%.
To be able to say, like,
100%.
we have been living at home for our entire life.
But at the same time, I think it also sounds like it also is so like you're losing something because you're never gaining it. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but you're missing out on something because you're not gaining.
I'll even feel guilty about that. Like, whether that's like 100%. I truly think there's like an experience out there that I haven't experienced yet and I'm meant to. Yeah. Because I genuinely believe that there are so many experiences out there that I just haven't come across yet. But I am meant to experience. And then I'll feel guilty about not being at that position right now, or I'm not doing enough to get there. And then I'll talk about wanting to be there but not acting on it. Like, there's just so much guilt around both positions of like staying at home.
It's always the guilt, and it's always the,
am I doing enough?
Exactly.
Are my parents like wanting one thing for me, or like they want me to stay, they want me to do what makes me happy, but then
can I actually ask like where your parents like POV is? Like what do they think?
My parents' POV is basically, I would say, is that they support anything that I want to do. And I'll talk about it a lot in terms of like, I really want to move and experience something new, and like with my best friend, and it'd be such a challenging but like really profound moment for us where we could really grow and take on these experiences. And then I'm met with like that wall every time where it's like I'll bring up the conversation and it's like, okay, like I love that for you, like very exciting that you want to do that, but like you haven't even gotten a job here first, so maybe start in point A before you dream so big of point B. And then I get hit with like the reality, and then I'm like, damn.
Well, I get that.
And then I get like 2 steps back where like, oh, you're right, but at the same time,
no, I get you. My mom is the same way, where it's like, again, she supports everything we do. We have really supportive parents. Very supportive. Shout out to you guys.
Shout out to
because they watch the podcast.
They're the real full-time daughters.
Literally full-time parents.
No, actually, it's so like our moms are so funny because they will be listening every week.
Literally,
and they're like, "Where's the episode?" Like, if we don't our upload, moms like they keep us in check. They're our managers.
Literally,
the
full-time momagers, bro.
They're like, so the episode wasn't up. Like, I was driving to work and it wasn't there.
But my mom, again, supports everything I do, and she just wants me to be happy. And she's like, if you want to be happy over there, find a thing. My mom's biggest thing is like, she's like, okay, but if you want to move abroad, she's like, you should study abroad. And I'm like a master's. She's like, but if you're gonna move, you're gonna study, right? My mom's a very big like academic, like you should always study for more. Like, she loves that. And I'm like,
I love that though, actually.
No, I love that
too. Thirst for hunger, like a thirst for education.
Yeah, she's very much like that, and I'm the same way. I would love to. I just think that grad school is like such a big commitment, and I know how I was in undergrad, and I can only imagine how much like more I'll be with grad school, because it's just like so much, it's like such a grander scale. But she's like, whatever you want to do, but she's like, but you know that you would have to take care of yourself. There's only so much our parents can do for us. At some point you have to do everything on your own. Like, my mom can help me with something, like help me through the visa process, help me with the moving process, like, oh, you need help packing, you need help finding a place, I'll help you, I'll support you.
But you're like fully on your own
financially and all that stuff. And I'm like, okay, but listen to this. I always say, but I can do it. Like, I feel like people just gotta let me, because I think sometimes they forget.
Let us cook.
This is a call out. Hold on, Mom, if you're listening. I'm like, Mom, listen to this, girl.
Let us cook.
My mom,
literally and physically.
Because let us cook, dude.
Because there's something to say about us. Yeah. And also, wait, because before we call out, like, we have each other, and that is also a very big like thing. Like, rather than us saying like, oh, we're moving on our own, which is so scary. I can't even begin to think of like, people have done this at 18 where they're fully moving across the country by themselves, and I'm like, that is so brave of you. I just wasn't ready at that time, but I love seeing other people's journey and how they're able to do that, because I'm like, whoa. But realistically, in like the era of life that we're in right now, it would be like, we would be with someone else, and then we would be experiencing it would help in the sense that we could obviously help each other with the realistic aspects of like, you know,
I'm sorry, I don't mean
being faced with the world. Stop. Like, we're being real.
I'm laughing because I was thinking about my mom watching this. I'm like, dude, this
Yeah,
is like
no,
basically
they're, like,
if I'm going away to
rolling their
college
eyes.
again, dude. Like, literally just think about that. She'd be my roommate. And
Honestly,
it's literally- that's people go to
Wait,
college
so
all
true.
the time.
It would literally just be the college experience, but in adulthood.
literally just
Because fully, like, we would be just figuring out how to live with someone else, getting set up for like success, and the fact that we can help each other business wise and job wise. Anything that we do, we would have like another perspective and
Yeah.
another like helping hand.
And it's interesting because I always think about it because I don't think I'm a codependent person, and I don't think this friendship's very like codependent.
all.
But I think it's nice that we would do it like together, almost
and
like we would
experiencing
help
it
each other out.
firsthand. So if like something doesn't work, like we would be able to
Just
guide
help
it,
each
like
other
navigate it,
out.
and make
Literally
life a
just-
little easier.
I think it's nice to have a friend that's like has the same dreams as you, and like also like hello, it just makes it easier. The whole
It
idea
does,
of
it
moving
does,
is
it
having a
does.
friend. I don't know. I don't see a problem with it. But
Us,
I
like,
always think about
arguing
my
our
mom.
case.
Yeah, we're
We're
like,
like,
guys,
please, jury, like everybody.
tell our parents.
Start literally commenting. Everyone comment, be like, I believe in them. I believe in them.
I believe in them.
And everyone's gonna be like,
subscribe,
yes.
please subscribe. Anyway,
Like two delusional girls being like, guys.
but I'm not
should we?"
delusional at all, I don't think. And I don't think you're delusional
don't think
either. Because
so.
I listen, this was the call out from earlier, was just like, I genuinely think I could figure it out. I could work for this
You could.
X amount of time. I meet a certain goal, and then I line up another job. And I know people are like, but that's so unrealistic. Y'all, I'm willing to do it all. Like, I will figure everything out, and then it'll work out for me. I'm
I
just the type
know.
of person que, like, my mom showed me, like, you have to like hustle.
Right.
That's what it is.
Hustle.
You have to hustle and literally
And also,
have faith.
like,
That's it.
let's say something were to go wrong, and you're faced with that challenge of having to figure it out for yourself, which is like canon event. Like, it's bound to happen. The worst thing that can come out of that is like an experience that we know just like wasn't for us. We just never give ourselves the opportunity to be faced with that challenge.
Yeah.
So we don't even know how we would respond if we were faced with it,
Correct.
which I think is like inevitable. Like, we're gonna have to see how we react to things in order to basically figure out
I agree.
that
And
we can do it.
My whole thing is like, I always wanted independence, and I want to like see it for myself and gain it and like do it on my own. And I'm so grateful for all the support that I've received my entire life. But it's like, I want to try something different. And then you ask me, why do you want to move? Like, why does it have to be moving? Why can't you just stay in Miami and do all of that? I think my answer would be because at the end of the day, I'll just come back home
Yeah,
and
it's
just
like the safe option.
and you just restart. You wake up the next morning and it's the same thing of like, you have the same places, you know, and all that. And it's like, you always come back and I don't know. I hate to say
It's
that
a
you just want the
safety net. Yeah,
the
like
safety
you
net,
have that.
but I crave like adventure, and I want to see new things every single day, and I want to experience new things, experience challenges and overcome them, and meet like new people and
Yeah.
goals. So when I was away, I wasn't focused on like what others need of me, just what am I going to do with my day and what makes me happy. And I started
Very centered
thinking
on
about
you.
and I started thinking about like my future over there, and like how writing isn't so silly, Isa. Like, people do that all the time. Or like being a creative director isn't so silly, Isa. Like, people do that all the time. And I feel like I give myself more space to think about myself and be a teensy bit more selfish, and just like
I love that.
centered around myself more than here. Because here I feel like I have like such a responsibility for maintaining something in my
Right.
family,
Like, you're
and
someone
just like
to someone else.
yeah. And I think also, because this is full-time daughter, I don't know if you guys will relate to this, but I feel like not only am I really like reliant on my role in my family, but I think that my family is also very reliant on me, and or just like very much everyone's used to it, you know, everyone's used to this routine we have, and like who does what and who's needed for what. And I am just like, I don't want that anymore. I kind of need a little bit of space and difference. And again, like, I think that the space is good for us. I think it's good to know who you are outside of your parents or like outside of your home or whatever. And to me, that's like my main reason for wanting to leave Miami is just, I know everyone's like, we love Miami, you're gonna miss it so much, and I do truly. Like, this is always gonna be my home. Like, I'm always gonna be like, I was born and raised in Miami, and like that's like my home truly.
Yeah.
But I think I need like to go out somewhere and experience like the trials and tribulations somewhere else, and then if I want to return, I have
There's always
this like
that possibility.
yeah, and I have this like, I know what's out
Perspective.
there. You
Yeah,
know what
like,
I mean?
you know.
Yeah, so that's just
Who
how
you
I
are.
feel about moving. And I don't know, I guess you just see all these people and you hear all these stories and you're like, oh, but I want that. And then I was telling Kaylin about Emily in Paris just came out. No spoilers, because I don't know anything about Emily in Paris. I've never watched it, but I know that it's about a girl that goes and moves to Paris and just about her life
She's
as
in,
she
like, a
moves
marketing
in Paris.
job.
Yeah, I know. But I saw like this one edit and I was just like, the way that she went into it not knowing the language, she also was just thrown this opportunity and she kind of just rolled with it. I'm like, okay, she got a degree, she got a job in marketing, like I got a degree in communications and digital broadcasting and multimedia production, and you're telling me that I can't do something? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just see that, and I know people are like, but you're romanticizing it,
That show is, I mean, that whole depiction of the show is like very, it's purely just vibes. Like, I don't think it's meant to be taken that seriously.
For
because
sure,
it's like,
it's meant to be enjoyed and like
also,
romantic.
like,
It's meant to be romanticized.
Literally romanticization of it, because even like their pitch meetings in the company are very just like, everything she says just goes. Like, she'll say something and it's like not even that great of a concept, or it's like not that revolutionary. She's like, hey, like, why don't we just take pictures in front of this billboard? That's it. Like, that's my marketing tactic. And everyone's like, Emily, genius. Like, you run this company. And then it's like, oh, period. Like, everything she says just goes and works, which is like so unrealistic. Or like, they'll go into a meeting and the boss doesn't even know like what the pitch is. And I'm like, did we not discuss this? Like, you're pitching to a whole like company, like, off the jump.
It's very unrealistic.
It's very unrealistic.
But
and I don't think it's meant to be taken.
Think it's gonna, like, that's my life.
It's just like vibes of it.
Yeah.
But the romanticization of it literally still gives you that perception of a dream that can be fulfilled. Like, you see someone else doing it, and even though it's not like a realistic portrayal of like a girl moving and starting a job, and like,
I don't know about that, because to me, when I studied abroad in Spain, I literally was like, la la la, rainbows and happiness. And even though I experienced like FOMO and sadness, like, I missed my family so much, and I truly was like, what would I do here if I wasn't studying? I don't know. Every day was a new day. Every day I did something different. Every day I learned, and I met Germans and Italians, and you go to different
just
places
so
and
beautiful.
You find out that like this city was like, it has so much historical significance, and like you get to go to museums, and I don't know. I just loved it. I'm so pro moving and discovering yourself somewhere else.
That's why I'm saying, like, the whole portrayal of Emily in Paris, like, and who
I'm
cares
like,
if it's
girl.
romanticizing? Literally, I'm like, if anything, it just makes you want that life. And why is that so bad, to like yearn for a life or be in a constant state of yearning for something that you want for yourself, or is like a dream, and to other people might sound cheesy or corny for being like, okay, she's just doing the stereotypical, like, she's having this phase of her life where she needs to like run away and like change her life and and go through like this crazy experience to realize who she is. Like, that's just so typical at that
Everyone's
age.
like, the Mamma
Like,
Mia
literally
summer, the post-grad trip.
But it's like, why? Like, why is that such a bad thing to like,
I don't think it is.
yearning?
I don't think it is. I think it's good. I know.
Talking about yearning.
I know you wanted to get into it.
Yeah.
I know you wanted to get into it, and you can.
We'll talk about that.
I know. But since you were talking about yearning, I just wanted to say that every single time I like took time to reflect while I was abroad, I would like take out my notebook, and I wish I would have brought it now, because I would have read some of my entries to you guys, but maybe I'll post about it. And I would write about how happy I was and how myself I felt, and I felt like so the most I've ever been. Like, the real Isa was on display, and I would talk about the people I would meet and how exciting it was, and the new foods that I tried, and just like, I was so extroverted and so myself that I was like, who am I in Miami? Because I don't feel like we're the same people. And I don't know, I just think that I was thinking back to like a specific train ride I took, and I wrote down that I was
something about trains.
I was
something about being
I was actually thinking of before sunrise when I was writing in that journal entry, but I just felt the most like myself, and I think it was because I was away. So I don't know, I just think it's
and you also just gain so much not like you gain so much experience from being outside and being in like different patterns of living that you weren't used to. And also I just think like when you're pushed out like that, you gain so much inspiration, because when you're in that rut of like the same thing every day, you start to lose that sense of what even makes me happy. Like everything is, I'm so used to it that it's like boring and it's like lifeless.
Literally.
And I do the same thing every day.
You're on
it's
autopilot, and it's just like you're getting
nothing
through
is
life
exciting.
and your life isn't even enriching. And that's what I feel. It's like I don't want to waste my 20s just being like, I know everyone, yes, we're confused and all that. I want to be confused and doing something, you know what I mean? Not just like I'm like stuck,
sitting back
frozen,
and watching your life from like an outside.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it feels like kind of at the moment, where it's just like we're watching our lives play out in front of us, but
and we're not taking hold of it, and I don't know why we're not.
Exactly.
I have no idea.
Exactly.
I guess it's like just we're overthinkers, and we think, but what if we go this way, then we're gonna regret it, and what if we fail, and what if this, and then there's like our parents being like, you need money, you need like so much money, and I'm like, people have done more with less, actually, mom. You know that?
Actually, though.
Also,
like,
I always laugh because my mom moved from a whole ass different country and went to medical school younger than me, and then I'm like, but how did you do that?
Exactly.
With what money, girl? And she's like, I got a job. And I was like, no, I know, but it would be the same for me, mom. And she's like, no, I know. Whatever you want. And I'm just like
fully taking after their footsteps.
Literally, I'm like
fully, like, they tell us all these stories, but then they're like, but I worked for it, and I was doing, I'm like, and we would be too. Like, that's the thing. But
anyway, but you were telling me about this excerpt that you read, right? Randomly.
Yes. So randomly, this does play into
our conversation.
And I was reading this book called The Odd Woman and the City, and the whole book is basically a woman documenting like her experiences living in New York, but also people watching. It's a lot of observational writing about like the people she comes across, friendships, how that plays into like her own life and who she is as a person, and what she gains from like seeing these people. And there was a whole excerpt about basically yearning and like who you are when you're attaching yourself to these concepts. And it just, I'm gonna read it because it has so much to do with this episode.
Tell us.
And I would like to argue, actually, you know what, I'm just gonna read it and then we're gonna discuss after like what you perceive from this.
Okay, I love it.
So it says, ever since I could remember, I had feared being found wanting. If I did the work I wanted to do, it was certain not to measure up. If I pursued the people I wanted to know, I was bound to be rejected. If I made myself as attractive as I could, I would still be ordinary looking. Around such damages to the ego, a shrinking psyche had formed itself. I applied myself to my work, but only grudgingly. I'd make one move toward people I liked, but never two. I wore makeup, but dressed badly. To do any or all of these things well would have been to engage heedlessly with life, love it more than I loved my fears. And this I could not do. What I could do, apparently, was daydream the years away, go on yearning for things to be different so that I would be different.
Wow.
And I was like, what? I literally read that excerpt like 3 times in a row because I was like, am I gaining something from this? That I'm like, is the perspective that I have on this the right one? So I had to read it a couple times to be like, she's talking about her fears, but also like what's holding her back.
Yeah.
And it just reminded me so much of like,
yourself?
Yeah, like the kind of era of thinking that I'm in right now, where it's like you want to do something but then you pull away. And it's this constant state of like yearning, or you're doing one thing, is it too much? Or if I go one way in life, is that what's right for me? And then are you focusing too much on your fears and not your dreams? I don't know, it's just so, something about that excerpt, I had to read it a few times to like,
it really spoke to
really
you.
Understand. But I was like, and there's a lot of different mentions, like she talks so differently about every experience and like the people that she comes across and like what that brings up in her. And some of them I couldn't really relate to, or I don't think I was getting the right perspective on it. And that probably is due to like, maybe I'm just like not in that same part of life, which is what I love about books, because you can always come back to them when you think you're in that area of life, or it might call to you and you need a different perspective. Because so many of them I was like, okay, like I don't really understand where she's trying to get at, but the writing was really beautiful, and I was like, oh, I love that. I love that way of thinking, or like it,
but it really didn't resonate with your life where you are right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I love that we can just come back and maybe gain a different perspective from reading the same thing. And I'm still going to keep coming back to this excerpt because I still don't even think I've grasped what she's trying to say fully, which if you have an idea, please
let us know.
Literally a literary analysis right now.
For me, I understand where you're coming from with the fears, because whenever I hear people that are like, to me it felt like a constant state of yearning, like I wear makeup but then I dress ugly,
right? Like,
or I'll do this but then my makeup will come ugly, and it's like this always like back and forth thing that we experience. And when you said the thing about like, but my fears always hold me back, I literally felt that to my core, because I'm like, I think that I'm just so held back by my own actions, because I hate
it's like
this.
Self-destructive behavior almost.
For real.
It is though. Like,
it's literally like, girl, why are you holding yourself back? But I think I just excuse it for, I'm in the same environment, I'm in the same place, nothing is changing, so why do I have to change? Like, yeah. And I hate that. So thank you for reading that, because it really just
so
is
interesting
like,
to me.
It really is interesting. But this whole idea of like yearning, wanting to be out, and I guess like I wanted to just like close off with me, unless you want to bring something up again. I just wanted to say
one thing.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to say that I feel like for me, I don't mind the challenges. I don't mind like figuring it out for myself. If anything, I want to, because I think that that's the only way you can grow up, and like your future kids or your future friends or whatever, you can show them what, like, there, you have to gain experience and you have to learn things on your own. And I think it's healthy to have space and distance from your family. I think that it's part of life. You have to become your own person and be able to make your own decisions and not be moved or I don't know, persuaded by what other people think. So like being like, what should I wear? I'm always like, my sister, I'm like, Sophie, how does my hair look? Do you think I should wear this? Do you think I should wear that? And I think it's normal to ask your friends and your family for advice and stuff, but I think I've become like very reliant on like, let me ask them for their like advice always.
I'm about to be 23 and I don't feel like a 23-year-old.
Correct. And
that's what we're trying to make tiny steps or like moves to feel like
that way.
We are set up for like success, basically.
And just for these years, I know these years are going to be so confusing. They're going to be
it's only
ups
the
and
start
downs.
Of, like
it's only
God
the
knows
start.
what.
I don't want to have regrets of not doing things. Like, I don't think you'll ever regret doing something. You're like, oh shit, I did it. I lived and I learned. Right. But then I think that I will be the kind of person that if I don't do something, I'll regret it. Like, if I don't move to Europe, don't speak to me.
At some point in our life,
you know, it has to happen. I want to have stories and experiences, and I also want it for myself, like to feel I
genuinely I fear being like uninteresting or something.
Exactly.
Like even though it's like I don't think we're uninteresting, and just because like we lack some experience makes us like uninteresting.
Yeah.
To other people, I know we've spoken many times about like when you meet someone and it feels like that is what's meant to happen, like that person was placed in your life for a certain reason, or an event that happens where at the time you might think is like crazy concept and you're like, why is this happening to me? You're struggling to understand why it's happening to you, and then you later go on to realize like it was literally the universe's way of pushing you. I love that. Also, it's like if you think about it, it's like almost like a building block, like to get to another point. I have always like came to that realization a few days ago because I was like, wait, like the timing of everything, and I was like, we always talk about like us meeting each other and how that was perfect timing because generally it was like it happened in college. That was like universe. And then like look where we are now, like we're doing literally, and like we're doing like our dream of wanting to do a podcast and talking every week, like that crazy timing. Yeah. But then I was also thinking about like when things are so painful and they hurt and it's like an experience that you're like, at the time you're like, why is this happening to me? why is this person hurting me? Why are they causing me to feel this way about myself?
Yeah.
And then you have all these questions that you don't think, like, they don't really have answers. And
they
then
don't make
you're
sense
later
at the
shown,
moment.
like, now that I'm reflecting on it, I'm like, perfect timing. Like, you did me a favor, because what if I want to move to, I don't know, like, what if I want to move to Europe and then I don't have any, like,
so happy about that. Sorry. I just
had to say. Like, wait, I can do anything now. Like, nobody there's like not a little there's not a little voice in my ear telling me that that's not possible, or there's not a little voice in my ear saying, like, literally how, you know, like, you are fully able to do whatever you want. So it's like, I don't know. I always believe
everything happens for a reason.
The universe is just pushing you in the right direction, and where you end up is where you're meant to be.
Yeah. And I think now I know, because back then, and again, that's why I'm like, guys, this is literally our whole thing is you live and you learn.
You live and
because
you learn.
When I thought I was like no friends, no nothing, you literally are alone,
like,
in this world.
You're truly at your worst.
I was like literally at my worst, at my lowest, and I'm just like, what am I gonna do? Like, genuinely, why is this happening to me? And then I think about it now, and I'm like, I had to go through that to know that happened in my past was not okay. That's not who I am.
Exactly.
And I had to forgive myself. I had to learn how to open up, and I had to learn to accept things in order. And guess what happened right after I did that? I met Kaylin. It's
that's
like,
why
you know what?
Like, it's
things
so divine
happen
timing.
for a reason. Literally, divine timing.
So many of the good things, they're gonna outweigh the bad, but you have to be shown in order to know the difference between the two, and how good it can really feel.
Yeah, for sure.
But
I love that. I love that little reflection. I hope you guys, like, I don't know if you guys are going through it too, that you want to move so badly, but like us too, let us know where we should move, okay? Because I would love for you guys to give us recommendations of like, oh, I've gone here, I've gone there. We're not opposed to anything. Just not somewhere super hot, please. Like, if I'm gonna live somewhere hot, I'd rather just stay here. Like, at this point,
we're going through it with the
cute that you. Where should we move? Let us know.
Where should we move?
Where should we go? Recommend a city.
We just wanted to talk about
what we're going through right now.
Feeling.
Literally, we're just in this like space of like, we have no direction. We don't know where we're gonna go. We're just kind of taking it day by day. And like, again, like we said in last episode, we're kind of like writing down things that make us happy and things that, you know, we're giving each other some time to like figure it out. What are we gonna do? Like, are we just gonna go get jobs and like figure it out from there and then come back to this? I don't know.
It may sound repetitive, but it's like, again, full-time daughter is just like us taking you through our experiences and our headspace and where we are in life.
Yeah.
And that's like the biggest thing on our plate right now is post-grad.
Yeah.
And just like dealing with it, and we want to talk about it and normalize like these feelings that so many of us go through and I probably think is never gonna end and you're never gonna make it out, but we are. We're gonna make it through.
Oh, you guys, thanks for listening, and I really hope you guys comment down below if you guys feel this way, what city we should move to, and what you guys want to hear on next week's podcast. We love like getting kind of like requests from you guys. Please, I would love to
anything
talk more.
You want us to talk about, we will talk about.
Let us talk. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening.
We love you so much.
We love you so much, and we appreciate all your kindness and your support and your comments. Literally, thank you so much, because it motivates us so much. Even if you're just like doing the polls on our Instagram,
or if you're silently listening,
like, thank you. We really appreciate you so much, and it just pushes us to keep doing this and to keep getting better at it. And thank you, and thanks for listening.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys next week. If you like to keep up with us, please be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at fulltimedaughterpod. That's all our socials. You can find all the links below. You hear that, Mom? Below, not down below, because my mom called me out and said, Isa, you sound, because down below is redundant. Down below.
True.
So she was like, Isa, you sound kind of ridiculous. And I was like, Mommy,
you're right. Why are they so...
No, because my mom...
How do they catch these things?
Because my mom is like, speak eloquently. And I'm like, no, Mom, you're right.
Yeah.
Because I have a... This is a podcast, you know what I mean? Thank you, Mom. Everyone say thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Thank you, Maria.
We will,
so all the links are below in the episode description. And yeah, we have a book club. It's on Fable, it's on YouTube, and it's also on Goodreads. Please keep up with us. We're currently reading Blue Sisters, and so far so good.
So far so
good. And honestly, you guys, I love the book club. I feel like it's a little tiny community, and we just want to keep growing it. And yeah, be sure to Do your
Please
thing.
be sure. Yeah, do your thing.
Do your thing, girl.
Also, the videos for our podcast are available on YouTube.
Yes.
And in case you're just listening to this on Spotify, it's also available over on YouTube. And
you
YouTube
can see our
has
pretty
been
faces. Sorry.
YouTube has been so much fun.
Honestly,
like we're having so much fun with YouTube. Like
I'm loving
YouTube
it.
Renaissance. Like
literally
start
the YouTube
posting those
Renaissance.
vlogs.
We're making vlogs. We already do book club on YouTube, but like, why are we
It's so
vlogging
fun.
more? We're having the best
We're
time on
vlogging,
YouTube.
We're doing all the things on YouTube. So subscribe over there.
Subscribe.
And please be sure to follow, rate, and review the podcast because it really helps us grow our community and full-time daughter. And
which is what we strive to do, you know?
Yeah, we strive. Yeah, duh. And the reviews are so cute. We love reading the reviews. If you ever
if you leave your
wanna
comments.
Yes, like I love reading.
I love reading
the
it.
little reviews.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. Please rate us on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you want. And yeah, just share with your friends. We really just want to grow, and I don't know.
The DMs are open.
The DMs are open as always.
We'll see ya.
And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
A period.
Period. We did that.
It's just us like in
We
there
did that.
being like, so what now?
Adios.
Bye.